Hi guys and welcome back to a new video. I'm very happy today to talk to you about Riot's upcoming tactical shooter Project A, or rather its newly released official title, Valorant. We've had a little wave of new info hit us all at once today. Some sort of NDA lift happened alongside a fantastic 2-minute gameplay preview on the official YouTube channel. Today I'm going to drop some of that all important info on you and break down that gameplay to really see what Valorant's all about. Valorant is a 5v5 character-based tactical shooter, and you can take Counter-Strike as a prime comparison or example, since in both games you have attacking and defending teams defending objectives known as sites with a plant or defuse mechanic in play too. But compared to Counter-Strike, Valorant makes use of special characters who all get their own different abilities, functioning more like limited utility rather than crazy super powerful hero abilities like say in Overwatch. With 128 tick rate servers confirmed by Riot on their website, we're seeing this game already have huge esport potential and some fantastically balanced game design. With all that said, we now know that the game will be playable in some form or another this very summer. It wasn't clear if that means like a full release or maybe a beta will arrive at that time, but either way, we should be able to see more of it and play it somewhere or another in just a few months. With that said though, let's just jump into this sweet gameplay preview and break it all down together. At the start of the video, we do have a note about the gameplay explaining that it is all alpha footage and it will certainly change in many ways, potentially visually and also mechanically. The footage that we're looking today is apparently from an unscripted dev playtest, but I'm gonna be honest with you guys, it still seems a little staged in some loose ways. Whatever the case though, it's still better than most of those fake commentary trailers that we get at E3 and so on. Anyway, as we spawn in, we're in a short 30-second preparation phase from the perspective of the defending team. We can see teams and the characters at the top with the round timer with the current scoreboard too. Currently this game is 10-6 to the defending team, immediately seeming like we'll have similar match length to current CSGO, where you must win 16 rounds as a team to win the match. During the preparation or buy phase, you're able to open up the shop and purchase equipment and abilities. Things are actually organized really nicely. Weapons are coming into their own categories here, top to bottom in expense, with shields on the right and abilities to buy on the bottom. We're also able to refer to our current credit score and also the team's basic info like gear and credits on the left as well. Bang in the middle, we currently have 17 weapons to choose from, so let's start with the sidearms. We have the classic basic pistol, and right under that we have the shorty, which seems to be a sawn-off shotgun. Maybe it's a 2-barrel sawn-off shotgun. We have the frenzy, which looks like an automatic pistol, aka the CZ in CSGO. Ghost, which is a pretty weird looking one, almost looks like a Luger, like a German Luger. And then finally the sheriff, which is a Deagle style gun, which will have high pen, high damage, but no doubt lots of kick and inaccuracy if you move at all when you're firing. Then we have the SMGs, the Stinger and Spectre. Both of these seem like eco guns to me given their low prices, but maybe the Spectre can do work at close range. For the shotguns we have Bucky, which is a pump shotgun, and then Judge, which is the semi-auto shotgun. For the assault rifles we have the Bulldog, Guardian, Phantom, and Vandal. These all seem to be pretty solid with similar prices besides the cheaper Bulldog, whereas the Vandal gives me AK vibes and the Phantom gives me M4 vibes. Next we have the snipers, the Marshal, which seems to be a scout sniper, versatile, you know, low weight, very agile, so it's going to be a mobile but low damage weapon if you're not hitting headshots. And then the Operator, or for short OP, must be the AWP of this game. It's the most expensive gun in the game, and I imagine a lot of players are looking forward to trying this. Finally, we have the heavy weapons, Ares and Odin, the big boy LMGs for high pen bullets that you can shoot off for a long time. The expenses may increase the damage values of each gun, so you know, buying a cheaper gun is less effective than buying a more expensive gun, but I'm sure every gun is viable in the right hands. Cheaper loadouts for your ecos or rushes or specific scenarios with shotguns and SMGs. As I mentioned, on the right you can also buy shields, which are replacing body armor or body armor and helmet. Light shields seem to protect your body, and then heavy shields seem to protect your body and your helmet, literally working the same as CSGO. And at the bottom we have 4 abilities to choose from. We seem to have selected with this character Curveball on the right, with the options to choose between Blaze and Hot Hands also. Since this game is progressed quite far, he actually has access to all 3, but he does not have his final ultimate ability on the bottom right. Curveball's description on the side says that you're going to be firing a curving orb that will detonate shortly after you throw it. Functionally, it's a flashbang that you can curve around corners or behind cover, which is pretty sick. As I mentioned, that bigger ability that's currently grayed out, you need more points for it, seemingly like an extra powerful or super ability, but costs more to run. As I mentioned, each and every character has their own abilities, different abilities to use, and different supers too. On the left, we have the points that you spend on all of the equipment with extra info like how much you're going to have next round in the worst case scenario, which is very useful to know. The teammates with call outs to use like let's buy, I have extra credits to, spend on you, or let's do an eco save round. I really like this. There's so many scenarios in competitive games where people just don't have mics and it's kind of important, or hey, they're too shy to speak, so using these in-game callouts can be very useful. You can also see what your team have purchased in their loadouts too here, and you're able to use the shop in the setup phase where you can actually buy items for teammates too, which we see someone do here. You won't need to physically drop the weapon to the player. There's some clever quality of life mechanics here too. The teammate who wants someone to buy a weapon for them has selected the gun they'd like someone to buy, and then the player who we're watching simply clicks buy it next to their name, and that instantly transfers the item to them for the required credits. As he's doing that, we can also see on the right some extra info about each and every gun, like damage values, the fire rates, and so on. During this buy phase or prep phase, players are also only able to move a set distance and can't move further out into the map because of these blue barriers. But if you take a look at the minimap, it seems like the defenders in this first 30 seconds are able to move all the way to each and every site, but not past that point, giving them time to buy and then also position where they want to be defending each site. This is really cool because it prevents very early kills almost off of spawn that you're able to do on certain maps in CSGO, like just like right in the middle with the doorway, or the certain ones on Mirage. I really like that this kind of sets up the map and the game or the round in a more balanced way. One of the defenders then uses their Q ability to reposition, and we see this ability lose a charge from 2 to 1. Looking at the other abilities here, we can also see these bars representing the charge of each ability. So we have 3 charges on this first ability, 2 for this super jump that was just used, 1 for some kind of dash ability, and finally 1 bar for that super ability, the throwing knives in this case. We actually saw some use of that in the original teaser trailer about 4 months back. Also looks like these abilities will not recharge, so you have a very limited amount to use per round, so you must use it as utility rather than spamming them out regularly. I'm also noticing during this prep phase that players are moving while holding knives, which certainly makes me think you move faster with a knife in your hand, which is just as it should be. Since this game is quite progressed into the match, both teams have quite a few points, and I'm noticing that some players, like this one, have access to their ultimate abilities at this stage, but you probably don't get used to them immediately. And since you have to unlock your basic abilities as well, I think you'll have to choose which ones you want as you progress through the game before you end up with all of them towards the end of the game. Anyway, the round will finally now begin, and the defenders by A site push out instantly down this corridor. Using an ability, they put up some sort of firewall blocking line of sight. This prevents a fast push, or rather makes it more dangerous onto A site from the attacker side. And then suddenly, through the firewall, we can see players near it. An ally that we weren't currently watching seemed to use some kind of reveal ability to briefly show enemies in the area, and you can see that appear on the minimap for its short duration and the range of it as well, which, the area that it covers seems very large to me. And as you can see, using that reveal, they claim the first kill by shooting them through the firewall, or I guess smoke. As the firing begins, we can also see the crosshair adjusting to the ongoing fire, meaning there is weapon spread and potentially recoil control needed. Time to kill is very fast in Valorant, just like it is in CS. This player with almost full health and almost full armor accidentally bumps into an enemy while off guard and instantly falls. Positioning and strategy will be required on all movement, just like it is in CS, because you will die very fast if you're caught out like this. On death, we see the combat report, which comes up on the right, showing you who killed you, who damaged you, and with what weapons they did it. On top of that, it'll show you where you were shot, in the head, the torso, or your legs, and how many times you were hit too. This combat report also shows you who you've damaged or killed in that round, including where you shot them as well. This is some seriously good detail. The firewall ability gets dropped here. I'm not really sure if it was the player who we were watching, since there wasn't really time for him to drop that, but perhaps it was a passive that occurs when he dies, or maybe the enemy placed it themselves after landing the kill. Moving forward though, another defender drops the sphere that breaks line of sight like a smoke grenade, but more control. It seems that they have 3 uses of that per round, and as we swap to another defender, this guy is using a bow. Clearly this was the character that used the reveal ability earlier, and an enemy seems to have dropped a frost wall, breaking line of sight, but also providing physical cover compared to the smokes that we've seen. However, that doesn't stop them from being blasted once they peek around it. Back to the defender on site now, we're seeing that special ability to channel the throwing knives is active. While they're channeling this, they are no longer holding a gun in their hand, which can leave them vulnerable if they're not careful, but you do have options with the knives. You can use left click to throw single daggers one at a time, or multiple at once, perhaps all the knives at once with right click. I'm going to assume that no one's going to survive being hit by all of these daggers at once, but you'll take some nasty but survivable damage from the individual daggers. From the icon above the ability, we can see that there's 6 little dots, or 6 daggers total based on, that UI, but we're actually only able to see 5 daggers on screen at once, so maybe there's a limit at how many you can throw. While you are channeling these daggers, you can use other abilities. Here we see them use another smoke sphere to help the teammate break line of sight and fall back to the defense. Swapping to the defender we saw on screen a moment ago, she seems to be very information gathering with her abilities, using this drone to go up into the air and try and spot wherever enemies are without risking herself directly. At the same time, we get a loud audio cue for a special or ultimate ability someone just used, causing a large gas cloud in a certain area. I must admit, I'm not a fan of how this looks, this green smoke bomb. I don't think this is very clear at all, and I do imagine that this will see some visual improvement as the game progresses. This is still alpha. You should note the display at the bottom left here though, above the HP. There's now a decay buff that's damaging those inside the cloud, sapping their life. It nearly kills this sniper user, but the moment they break from the cloud, their health began to rise back up very quickly. Perhaps someone used a heal at the time, or maybe you only take damage in the smoke and recover once you're out of it. It seems kind of strange. Next, we see that dart being used to reveal enemies once again, but it seems she fires too wide or too far because it doesn't reveal a very close enemy hiding in that poison cloud. The dart has 2 modes of fire as well, a straight shot, or it can be used to bounce off and around surfaces with its alt fire. Moving forward though, the combat stim of some kind is thrown, but before we can really see it used, the enemy hiding in that smoke catches this dude out and kills him. And sometime during that mess, the bomb, or in Valorant, the spike, is planted. You can see that from the icon at the top, or during the gameplay, you can hear the beeping. It's pretty much as you would expect. There's a timer that will run out before the spike will go off, winning the round for the attackers, or if it's defused in time, the defenders can save the round that way. Similar to CS or Siege, if all attackers are dead, but they did plant the spike, they may still win the round if there isn't enough time to defuse the spike. Suddenly, after a sweet double kill though, we suddenly have a 1v1 situation for the round, and it certainly looks like shotguns aren't too shabby if they're able to get those 2 kills so easily. The last defender does have an advantage though, because that combat stim that was thrown earlier seems to still be buffing and helping this teammate out. This player goes really low HP while standing in this poison cloud, but it doesn't kill him as I mentioned earlier, perhaps thanks to the stim, or maybe again this poison cloud doesn't actually kill. Just barely this defender manages to get the final kill, and even more just barely defuses the spike just in time for the round win. So let's talk about what we just saw. What's my conclusion on this game? Well, it seems super intentional. Every detail has been carefully thought out with competitive play in mind, right? The maps are simple with not many ways to approach it. The guns all seem solid with a good range of choice between the ARs, the snipers, or your eco rounds. The characters all have unique abilities, but none of them seem overly powerful just yet either. This is all great for the balance and, competitive nature of the game, right? But are the kills satisfying? Are the guns skill-based? What are the recoil patterns like? Are the abilities underwhelming in their strength to avoid being overpowered? Is it fun? That's the question. One thing is for sure though, everyone and their damn mother in competitive FPS are talking about this game right now. How they're going to be casting it, or they're going to be a competitive player. Streamers and YouTubers like myself are talking about it on their channels or with their friends. People are excited about this, and there's a lot of trust in Riot right now. We have a lot of faith in them for good reason. Valorant is extremely promising, and I haven't played CSGO properly in a couple years, and I'm starting to get that itch again. So this is coming at the perfect time for me. But on top of that, CSGO is ridiculously popular right now. It still, despite having been out for years, is extremely successful and extremely popular, and has held true to its original values from the beginning. And I'm glad that it's getting some legitimate competition in the form of Valorant. We're gonna have to wait and see though, and see what new information comes out, since they've actually claimed on the website they're gonna reveal more information for each hero on their Instagram. Be sure to keep your eyes on this one. It could be a huge game. I'm certainly looking forward to playing it and covering it here more on the channel. For now though, I've been Hollow, you've been you, and be sure to let me know what you think of Valorant in the comments. Until next time, thank you very much for watching.